another edition of Uncorked, where we will possibly be introducing a new name and tagline soon. As you all know, normally my videos post on Sunday, and on Sunday I post about books I'm reading, books I want to read, books that are informing my writing, books that I have found particularly helpful in my journey as an author. For those of you who might be new and don't know me, my name is Sharon Winston. I am a children's author with about 15 books now. So I've been writing for a while, and I love it. I love writing for children. I've got 2 books for young people coming out, I believe, next year. I know one is. The other one, they're on the fence about whether it'll be 27 or early 28. I really hope it's 27. But anyway, the book, I'm very happy about having those books come out. But I started this channel back in January because I was on a journey, or I wanted to be on a journey, to write my first novel for adults. And so in doing so, I thought, well, I will do a video about books and about writing, and we'll combine the two. However, I found that is easier said than done. So what I'm doing is I'm breaking the two apart. And on Sundays, we will talk exclusively about books. I'll still talk about how those books might be informing my writing. But the Thursday videos will now be more about the writing journey, where I am, what I'm doing. Hopefully you will check in with me and let me know where you are and how you're doing. If you didn't start in January or February or even March or April, that's okay. It's May now, and you may get started. It's never too late. It's never, ever, ever, ever too late. So I want to tell you a little bit about my book and what I'm writing and what I'm trying, and yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So the book I'm writing, my working title in my head is how not to write a cozy murder. My main character, Emily, is a children's author, a very, very successful children's author, much more successful than me. And because writing children's books has made her wealthy, I'm eating tacos downstairs tonight. So I've yet to reach that point in my life. But anyway, so the story is about Emily, and Emily is dealing with juggling a lot of different things. Even though she's been very successful in her career, she lost a daughter 5 years prior, and she's still struggling with that grief. And trust me, I know what that's like. This book is going to be one of the closest to my true life that I've ever written, because I'm a children's author, and almost 5 years ago I lost my daughter, and I'm here to tell you, the grief is there every morning to greet you, but you find a way to power through it. And so one of the things that I'm doing to exercise that grief is I'm channeling it through this story. So in the story, Emma is struggling with the loss of her daughter, and she decides that she wants to write her first cozy mystery. See the parallels? You see what I'm doing? You see what I'm doing? So beyond this being a trope about an author who's writing a book, who incidentally is writing a cozy murder mystery, and she's doing research, and the first person that she approaches about help for her research winds up dead, and she becomes enmeshed in the mystery, or in the murder. So that is the sort of the genesis, the jump off of the book. And I was having such a hard time with it in the beginning, probably because I was writing about something so intensely personal. That and the fact that, like me, Emma is in her early 60s, and she's struggling with her identity. You know, it's for so many years when I changed jobs, when I went places, I was always the youngest. I was the young, if not the youngest, among the youngest. That was just, I don't know exactly how that happened, but it did. And then, at one point I worked at a newspaper where I was in the sports department, and we had a lot of high school kids come in. But I didn't compare myself to them. Obviously, I mean, they're children. But I haven't worked in a newspaper for years. I have lupus, and when my lupus first flared up, it took years for them to diagnose it, and I became really, really ill, and I wound up having to leave the newspaper because I was unable to work, a 40-hour week. I couldn't do it. I still can't do it. But I am better. It's been a number of years since I left the newspaper. But having that break, that shift in my life, a life that had been so orderly and organized up to that point, even to the point of adopting my two children, then it all just sort of, after I got sick, it all just sort of crumbled. I left my job, I lost my house, I couldn't take care of my kids by myself, so I moved to Georgia where my sister was, and we lived together because there were things I could do and there were things I couldn't do. And I was just so tired all the time. All I did was sleep. All I did was sleep all day. I was up to sometimes to ride with my sister to work, and I would sleep the whole way. And sometimes I would just wake up and I would see her just looking at me with hate in her eyes because I was over there snoring, and she had to go to work. I'm sorry. So I would keep her car so that I could go and pick up the kids. And this was before my most popular book, President of the Whole Fifth Grade. I got sick right in the middle of writing it. So it took a couple of years to finish because, I didn't have the strength, I didn't have the energy. So I powered through that, and I got through it, and, the kids were okay, and I was okay, and we eventually made our way back to Florida, me and my sister and the children. And, that's where they graduated high school. That's where we lived for a number of years. And that's where I wrote and had published a number of books. That's when my career really took off. So that is kind of my biography, my discography, my bookography. I don't know what you want to call it. But that's sort of my history. And as I said, the desire to write a cozy mystery is something for me that I've had my whole life, ever since I read my first Nancy Drew. My mom was a huge reader. She loved murder mysteries and thrillers. I used to read not just my Nancy Drew, but sometimes her Sidney Sheldon's and her Mary Higgins Clark. Sidney Sheldon was a little hard for me when I was, preteen. But I really fell in love with Mary Higgins Clark and some of her titles. Those were some of my mom's favorite. And then, of course, there were the bosom rippers. She had a whole grocery store, Meyer and Thrifty Acre. If you're from our part of the country, if you know, you know. She had that paper sack full of old discarded romance novels. And I would sneak into her room and steal them to read. And man, oh man, the things I learned from a good old bosom bodice ripper. That's what they call them, a good old bodice ripper. So that is all part of my my intellectual journey, if you will, or my literary journey. All of those books, every last one of them, they made me want to write. When I was in high school and in, not so much in college, because in college, the workload is heavy and I didn't have nearly as much time. But in middle school and high school, I wrote and read all the time. Wrote and read. I wanted to write historical fiction. I wanted to write romance. But most of all, I wanted to write mystery. So, of course, my first breakthrough as an author is as a children's writer. And it doesn't touch really any of those genres. So, I don't know what that says, but sometimes when I struggled to write, at some point I had to figure out that I had to listen to the voice that was telling me the story and stop trying to turn it into something it wasn't. And at the time, there was a noisy 12-year-old or 11-year-old inside me who had lots to say. And that's how Brianna Justice from President of the Whole Fifth Grade was born, and Lotus Bloom from Lotus Bloom and the Afro Revolution, and Sharkita from Shark Teeth. All of them represent, all of those are characters and books that I've written. Oh, and my most recent book, Zahara Grace in Destiny of a Diamond Princess. They all represent facets of me that sorry, my phone decided to ring. It's Apple Watch. So they all represent facets of my personality and represent conversations that I wanted to have. When I write a book, I have to have something to say. I have to have an argument that I'm making, something that I'm standing for, even if it isn't necessarily the right thing. As I said, I've always longed to write all different facets of fiction. And I started out with realistic fiction for children. I would like to add cozy mystery writing for adults to that. I don't want to get away from writing for children. I don't think I'll ever be able to, because that noisy 12-year-old, she's still there. She's still yelling. But now there are other, I've grown up. I've grown older. So there are other facets of me that are like, yelling at her, shh, hush up, kid. I got something to say too. Remember that time? So I'm hoping to explore the stages of grief, but not like that. There's no psychoanalysis in the book, but only I'm hoping to have some understanding, to share with people the unending journey of grief and being okay with the fact that, after 6 months or a year or 2 years, you don't just snap out of it and walk away and everything is good. It's not good. It's not. It doesn't work like that. A lot of people around you want it to, but it doesn't. It doesn't work that way. So that is one of the underlying themes in the story. That and aging. You don't hear a lot in books about aging. I'm right now, I'm listening to the latest entry in the Thursday Murder Club, and I don't know the name of this particular one, but it was the last one to be released. And they're older than my character. They're in their 70s and even 80s, I think, a couple of them. But I know what it's like to wake up one day and say, oh my God, I'm how old? Oh my gosh, it's aging is not for the faint of heart. I'll say that. So that's about me. That's about my journey. As far as my story that I'm writing is concerned, I've written, oh my goodness, everybody, I've written almost 50 pages. It took me a long time to find the voice, but I was committed to writing in an omniscient third person and a close third person, which I never do. I almost exclusively write in first person. And I decided to try something else. The book the genre, the style of book is different. So I decided to try something different. And in service to this, I am currently reading Who Killed Mr. Aykroyd. I think that's right. I'll put a copy of the book up there to show you. But it's a classic Agatha Christie. And so I've been reading it so that I can sort of absorb some of the master's work. And I'm enjoying it so far, even with the sort of stilted language. I'm enjoying it a lot. And I just can't wait to have someone to be able to share this. My daughter read the first chapter. She really liked it. And I will tell you right now, my daughter is a very tough critic. She is not someone who, she's going to tell you. If you say, do I look fat in this? Be prepared for her to tell you, Mom, that don't look good. It make you look lumpy. Okay, I'm going to do change now. I mean, she just doesn't have that filter. She's going to say what she's going to answer the question you ask her. So I was really nervous to have her read those first 10 pages, but when she did and she liked it, it gave me so much of a zap. And so one thing, I'm going to leave you with one tip today before I go, because I've been yammering about me and my life and my journey, but I want to know about yours. Follow me, hit like, subscribe, comment, send me some comments. Tell me, Sherry Winston, I want to know. I need to know how to get this book started. I want to catch up with you. Tell me something. I'm here for you. But I'm also here to try and finish this book by the end of the year. That is the deadline that I've set for myself. So I seem to be doing pretty well. I've got several chapters written now. I'm moving toward a really big scene, and whenever that happens for me, I always slow down a little bit. Because it's like, this is going to happen, and everything, it's this point in the story where everything changes. So, I sort of drag my feet sometime, but I'm very excited about it at the same time. So, I've gone on and on long enough. I've yammered your ears off. Just know that if you are struggling with your writing, you are not alone. Even though I've written this book in this tone, the way that I have, it doesn't guarantee that I won't turn around at some point and write the whole thing in first person like I originally thought I would. So, that changes happen. That's happened. I've done that. I've done that with manuscripts before I turned them in, where it was in third person, and I just thought, it's just not doing what I wanted to do. And I went through it. I changed the whole thing to first person. So I'm hoping I don't do that with this one, because I really like it. I really like how it flows and how you get to know things about other people that I think makes the story richer. So I'm hoping that you are finding the right verbs and adjectives and nouns and pronouns, and that you squish them all together, shake them up, put them together, and get that manuscript started. Come on, girl, you're ready to write that story. Write that story. The world is waiting to hear what you have to say. And that's all I have to say. I've talked enough. I think my tacos are ready. So take care and be loved, and I'll see you at the bookstore.